You made a video on defense spending in a voluntary society, the funding of defense, and I agree with a lot, perhaps most of what you had to say. Um, I don't have any specific points of contention at any rate or disagreement. I think that you're going to have several advantages in a stateless society over any society with a state when it comes to the ability to mount national security. I think that in many analyst views, the role of the current military is overstated. So I think that the the two main factors in determining a nation's ability to go to war are going to be industrial capacity and general economic powers and population. So, uh, presumably, a stateless society is going to have open immigration. And you can imagine that compared to a society with a state stopping people on the border saying, no, you can't come in here, there's going to be a lot of people that choose to move to that country just because they can, because there's no, policy against immigration, except, perhaps there might be people that are outlawed from coming in, people that are effectively shunned or something that's possible. I mean, you got to realize this is all conjecture, right? We're not looking at something that exists in reality currently, and we're not really trying to plan a society either. We're just hypothesizing what would happen if we abolish the state. So, but not only will people want to move there just because they can, there'll also be a lot of reasons for them to move there to get away from their governments because we don't have a government, so they can't get attacked by our government. To they don't have to pay taxes, so there's the wealth, and presumably, if you look at laissez-faire economies in the past, they've done very well. Growth rates that are unimaginable to modern Western democratic capitalist societies. So you would imagine that without the state consuming nearly half the wealth produced in a given geographic area every year, that you're going to have prosperity, technological innovation, wealth, and leisure, and great progress made, not only for the citizens of Ruritania, our supposed anarcho-capitalist nation, but also for people around the world as we trade with them, and also as they notice our prosperity and imitate our customs and habits, and simply move there. So, how would the actual nuts and bolts of it work? Again, we don't know, and sort of presumptuous to say otherwise. Um, I agree that using violence to fund the army is not the answer. I think that you'd have a citizen volunteer regiment that would form organically. Everybody, man, woman, and child would take up arms if invaded. Um, Access to weapons would be plentiful, and perhaps mercenaries could be hired from other countries. You could use nuclear weapons or locate the nation in a geographically defensible place. It could even be on Newt Gingrich's moon base, so less incentive. Maybe we get this colony going on a generation shift or something. So a lot of people have hypothesized about DROs, quasi government, military, police, dispute resolution organizations. And that's one thing that could happen. It's really there's really no point in this mindless speculation, but I guess it gives us something to do while we wait for the state to wither away on its own, or because of our criticisms. At any rate, I think that for the two reasons I outlined at the beginning, the population growth and the industrial capacity slash economic strength of a truly voluntary society is going to so outweigh, from the genesis to whatever point we're talking about of that society, if you took like with like. Because, if you have an anarcho-capitalist society of 100 people, if it's, me and 99 of my closest friends, and we're on an island, well, it doesn't matter. We're probably not, going to have a fully functioning society with 100 people. I'd probably desert within the first week and go check out the Caribbean or something. But but if you compare like with like, if you take two societies that are, this is a thought experiment. Obviously, it's not really that practical, but two societies that are identical, and then one of them, is your typical modern Western. This is the the pinnacle of human engineering in terms of social. This is what we've got here. This capitalist state democracy representative constitutional monarchy thing we've got going on here, and then contrast it with libertopia. I think that you're going to see within not even a very long time, because of people talk about compound interest like it's a big deal, but it's not, because if you invest $100 and the interest is 2%, and the compound interest on that, you're talking about 4 cents off $100. It's not a lot of money, right? What are you going to do with 4 cents? Nothing, right? You can't even get a penny candy for 4 cents anymore, because the government wants to print money in order to repay their debtors with less money than they borrowed. But completely lost my train of thought there. I think I've basically made my case though, so I will leave it at that.